Baby Keem's a G. We all know it. We all know the type of diversity he has. We all know the type of sound he has. And this guy, I can't even explain the type of sound he has. Bro, guys, it blows my mind how diverse, but yet how so focused he sounds.
And that's what's crazy to me is that, hip hop has been around now for like 40 something years, let's say. And this guy manages to stand out from everyone else and to have a totally unique sound. And yes, he does get a lot of comparisons to his cousin Kendrick Lamar, which I don't really hear it personally. But to me, he stands out. And what's interesting is that he's also a producer, and he was the producer behind Schoolboy Q's Num Num Juice.
Fire as fuck.
And he also produced, I think it was a Lion King song for Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar. It was called Nile.
That's nuts.
He produced that, and he also had some credits on J-Rock's Redemption.
Okay, so Baby Keem's getting in his bag then.
So yeah, he was in his producer bag, and then, he dropped, his mixtapes, which, spawned the song Orange Soda.
Die For My Bitch in 2019.
Yeah, off of Die For My Bitch in 2019, and that song blew the fuck up on TikTok now.
It blew up on TikTok, and then the rest of his album was sort of kind of, I wouldn't say hidden, but like right now, if I'm looking at the impressions on Genius at the whole track list, it's a blatant mile run for Orange Soda, because it's a 14 track list. It's a 14 song track list. It's super concentrated, by the way, guys, and I know a lot of people that do fuck with his sound like that. And the crazy part about this album is that I feel as if I say this a lot, but it's so diverse yet so concentrated at the same time, and you could go through it and every single song sounds different, but it also follows a nice different aesthetic to it. Like you kind of know that you're listening to Baby Keem when one of his productions come on. So Ian, I want to ask you, bro, when was the first time that you jumped into Baby Keem's music, and what were your first initial thoughts when you listened to it?
I remember Baby Keem was really blowing up in my school. I remember everybody was like listening to him, and when Orange Soda came out, he was definitely kind of a harder song to get into for me. I love him now; he's just a great artist, but he's really got like more of a high pitched voice, which is kind of going to turn some people off for him. But man, he was the best. He's definitely the best artist in the XXL freestyles. If Don Tolliver, showed up, he would have been. But yeah, I really also like the song Hooligan and Something Critics freestyle that dropped this year.
Flames.
He's got so much talent left with him, and I feel like if him
I think
there
we
we
lost
go.
Ian.
Is he back? Is he back or is he not back? Let's listen to this. Fuck, guys, Zoom is so shitty. This is horrible. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Let's dive back into Die For My Bitches playlist. I like the track list a lot because I get kind of different songs, right? So like Orange Soda is obviously like the main attraction on that album. It sort of has like that, it's the sort of golden child for the whole track list. And then you get into songs like Honest, Invented It, Bullies, Mosh Pit, Rockstar P, Top Ramen, My Ex. There's so much value on this product.
And you can't categorize the album at all. You know what I mean? You can say that it's trap, you can say it's experimental, but you can't put it into one lane. And he really impressed me with Hooligan this year, which also had a crazy music video, and it goes to show that he's going to be really an artist to watch out for. And the big rumor was kind of, is he going to collaborate with Kendrick Lamar? Because we did hear leaks from the two of them, and they kind of spawned a rumor of a collab album when they were photographed together for a magazine cover for the magazine ID.
Yeah.
Where they kind of interviewed each other back and forth and said how they were both planning to release albums this year, but had to push them because of the pandemic. So do you think that, if it wasn't for the pandemic, that they would have featured on each other's albums this year?
I think so. I think they would have definitely done it. And it's more of a thing where like Kendrick's trying to put on his little cousin.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, like I think Kendrick like fully believes in this kid and that he's gonna go the full lengths. And I have to agree with Kendrick because we have him at number 1 on our list. Like, it's not necessarily gonna be maybe it could be a number and a money's game with him later down the line, and more of a doing huge releases and doing huge press runs and like doing that sort of vibe. But I really see him dipping into his discography and really trying to make timeless music, something that sounds completely diverse. And I'm not a big fan of off-flow artists, so like I'm not a big fan of like G Herbo and stuff, but when it comes to Baby Keem, it's acceptable just because it's so diverse. And you're listening to it and it sounds like, how could I put it? You're listening to it and it sounds so weird that it sounds good. And then the production is so fire that you're kind of reinforced on your statements, and you're like, okay, yeah, this confirmed all my suspicions. Like, this guy's absolutely fire. And his sound is so fucking addicting, man. Like, I could listen to Baby Keem for like 3 days straight.
How do you think that he would do with Kendrick on a collab album? Do you see their sounds meshing for like an entire tape?
I do. I'll tell you why. I'm a huge Kendrick fan, and like, I'll support Kendrick to the day I die. He's my favorite artist. I like Kendrick because he's able to get out of his bag, and he's able to match any aesthetic that the other artist is trying to go for and do it just as good and maybe even better. Because like, he's just a dog like that. He'll go at anyone's head to try and get a better verse in. And so I feel as if what it is with him and Baby Keem, it's like a family competition where they're always trying to push each other type shit. And yes, Baby Keem could be on his off flow shit, but I think Kendrick's gonna stick not to his traditional sound, but more of a traditional flow, more something that's more coherent, more on the beat, but their deliveries are very similar. Not their voices. I would say more the deliveries, the way that they pronounce the words, the way that they hop onto their productions, the way that, let's say their engineers are mixing their vocals. Like, I could see that aesthetic really pushing it further for the both of them, and I could see them making timeless music, bro. Like, who's to say they can't?
It'd be interesting just because, we haven't seen Keem really hop into that lyrical side. So it'd be very interesting. Ian, let me ask you, what would you think of a Kendrick Lamar Baby Keem collab album?
It'd be kind of awkward, to be honest. I love both of them, but I don't know how Keem would do with, like, I feel like Kendrick has more of a high-pitched voice sometimes that would really work with Keem, but if Kendrick's just, like, rapping how he normally does, like on Good Kid, Mad City, or Section 80, I feel like Keem's going to get washed by Kendrick, to be honest. But if they're doing like high voices both, then I feel like it could definitely work. But it just depends like how they would mesh together, really.
Yeah, and that's the only concern I think that really comes to the table is like, is Keem going to be able to keep up with Kendrick? Not is Kendrick going to be able to collaborate and fit Keem's aesthetic, but I think he will be able to, because they're going to be able to make music that both fits their styles. Like, I don't see Baby Keem going on like GKMC sort of production or like even Damn production. It's not going to happen. What's going to happen is that they're going to try and make not party bangers, but more lighthearted stuff. Something that necessarily doesn't hit home as hard, but something that, is going to be able to be bumped in everyone's car. Something that's going to be able to be in everyone's rotation. Kendrick's given us all of his lyrical bag. And honestly, I'm always down to get a full masterclass by Kendrick. But I want to see him have more fun with his projects now. I want to see him dip into a different type of bag, and I think Baby Keem could actually push him to do that.
I don't think they'll ever make a collab album, though. Like, I see them making tracks together, but I don't think it'll ever happen.
Even like, let's say like a Dat Piff EP type of thing, like maybe like a 7 song EP.
Maybe like seven's too much, max 5. I don't see them being able to go back and forth on the same beats for more than 5 tracks. I think.
But Kendrick has done an Untitled Unmastered sort of release where it was sort of like loosies and throwaways, and he didn't care if it was going to hurt his discography or not, and it ended up being a fucking fantastic project. So I do think maybe that there's potential there where he's going to look at it and he's going to be like, okay, this could throw in some diversity. And listen, it's my cousin, right? So I could put on for him at the end of the day.
It's possible just because, Kendrick he even said it in the interview with ID Magazine that he never wants to make the same album twice. And that's why we'll never get a GKMC 2, just because he wants to execute a new sound with every album. And that's what he's doing right now. Right now, he's probably forming what could be the best album of the 2020s decade, for all we know.
Yeah, and he's someone that has an immense amount of potential.